Hi there, Matthew Ashdown here, and I just had a story that I wanted to reflect and share, something that was interesting that took place the other day. It felt in many ways it was related to the themes of teamwork and synergy of the 44th gene key, and so it seems like a timely reflection, and I just wanted to share it. So the other day I was sitting down and I just started to watch the documentary Now and Then. It's about the new songs released by the Beatles, or maybe it's called The Last Song. But the song is called Now and Then. And I was watching it, and at one point, just start to hear John Lennon's voice singing. And then suddenly I'm hearing it in stereo. And my wife is in the kitchen, and she is watching and listening to something it wasn't the same documentary, but it was the same song. And I was literally hearing John Lennon in stereo. I would hear his voice here, and then I would hear the same words half a second later in the other room. And I asked my wife, "What are you watching?" And she said, "Oh, I think you'll really enjoy this. It's something about the Beatles." And I said, "Well, come in here because I'm watching that too." And it was a different video, but it was just so incredible to me that how it lined up. And it just almost seemed like a zero interference moment where we were so in sync. And to me, it felt like, okay, I really got to pay attention to this. And so I watched this. It's only a 12-minute documentary, but I thought it showed some really interesting things around creativity and the timing and the expression of it and the value of teamwork. Because, of course, the Beatles, they were a group of people that came together, and there was four of them, and they created such an impact, and they were such a team. And they had very successful careers together, maybe limited successes depending on which one we're talking about, on their own. And so shortly before his death, John Lennon, so this was back in 1980, it was probably in the 70s, he recorded some songs. And some of those, Real Love and Free as a Bird, found themselves on one of the later albums. I think it was the Red Album. And then, of course, George Harrison died in 2001. But back in 1995, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, and Paul McCartney had come back together again, and they'd wanted to work on these songs. So they released Free as a Bird and Real Love. What they weren't able to work on was this other song that John Lennon had recorded called Now and Then, because they hadn't had the technology at that time to be able to separate the voice from the piano music in the background. They wanted to bring out John's voice. And so it went into the archives, this particular song. And fast forward to 2022, 23, and the remaining Beatles, which is Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney, came together and they thought, well, should we give this a go again? Because now there's this whole new technology where we can deal with the interference that came from the beautiful piano music, but it was a kind of interference in a way. And they could use the technology today to completely separate it out and be able to edit it. And so they brought aboard Peter Jackson, who had been working with them recently on other projects. And so they brought together this single Now and Then, and you can check out the link and watch the video. And they even include some kind of cheesy looking AI versions of John Lennon and Ringo and George Harrison, who both passed away, and even older versions of Ringo Starr and Beatles. But it's a fun Beatles video. And just for me, it just spoke so much to the nature of collaboration, but that collaboration is also not limited to a particular time frame, because here they created something across time, seeds that were planted a long time ago, over 40 years ago. The seeds of this song were planted, and that there was, for whatever reasons, the song couldn't be edited back in 1995. It was like there was an interference, so the technology wasn't there, that kind of thing. And here we fast forward now to 2023, and it's effortless. and well, maybe not effortless, but the team was able to bring it through. And they've got this brand new song, and it sounds like the sounds, John Lennon just sounds crisp and clear, and it just sounds really good. I encourage you checking it out. But for me, it really, it just got me thinking of some of the seeds that have been planted in my own life in ways that in the past I had these ideas or things that I was working on that I wasn't able to accomplish them on my own. And now working in the teams that I'm part of, I'm seeing things come to fruition that back then hadn't been able to. But now in the light of community coming together and working together and for this towards the same vision, things are beginning to unfold in a very different way. And so I feel that for many of us in this time is that there is this shift, we're making this conscious shift, and that these new ways forward are available to us. And so this simple reflection, this story, it brought so much, and it came through a funny synchronicity. Well, I thought it was funny synchronicity, this kind of almost telepathic attunement between my wife and myself that had us playing a song on different videos at the very same moment in time. It was bizarre, and so I paid attention, and I really appreciate that for all the creativity that any of us are putting forward into the world at this time, knowing that as we come together, as we collaborate, as we synergize and work together, it's amazing what we can create.